Thanks for that, Ritu. Can we bring up Jeff Maggioncalda, the CEO of Coursera? Jeff, if you can sit to your right. I think we're adjusting your frame. Yeah, I think that's much better. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Hawaii. I don't know, I think India is at least 15 hours ahead. What?
Something like that. It's 9:30 at night here, but I'm happy to be here.
Great. Thank you so much. You're speaking at the Moneycontrol Startup Conclave to a room full of entrepreneurs, startups, investors, bankers. The list goes on. But you know, the last time we spoke, you told me about how ChatGPT has been giving you sleepless nights. And you said you didn't sleep for 45 days because of ChatGPT. Has your sleep improved since then?
Not really. I'll tell you, I obviously had to sleep a little bit, but when I first started using ChatGPT, and my engineers had been using GPT-2, and they've been telling me like, hey, Jeff, this stuff's getting pretty powerful. But I didn't try it firsthand until early December. And once I saw it, I was really struck by it. So yeah, we moved pretty aggressively. We've been working hard. We now have a ChatGPT implementation of a personalized learning assistant that we call Coursera Coach. It works on 5,000 courses. And, I think it's not perfect, but it's really promising. I think there's a lot of capabilities that will be available because of AI.
Got it. Let me begin with, the moot point of this session. Do you believe AI will save or destroy education?
I think education has to adapt. Obviously, anytime the world is changing so quickly, everything has to adapt. Our relationships, our institutions, the way we educate people, the way we work, we always need to be learning and changing and growing, and that certainly is true for education. McKinsey just came out with a nice report around the impacts of generative AI on different job functions and different industries. They did a report in 2017 that looked at more traditional AI, and they deemed education industry to be the least susceptible to the more conventional AI. They updated that with generative AI, and the industry that is most going to be impacted by generative AI is education. So yeah, education is definitely going to be adapting, and we're all going to have to be changing the way that we use the tools, the way that we do our jobs, and even to some degree, the way that we use technology as a thought partner.
Right. Salman Khan of Khan Academy recently said that he believes artificial intelligence could spark the biggest positive transformation that education has ever seen. He suggested a personal AI tutor and an AI teaching assistant for teachers. Do you think that's how the model will evolve?
In many respects, we're already there. I've been using, Sal Khan is an amazing guy. I have been using Khan Academy. It's a great, Khanmigo is a great, it's a great service. It's a really cool functionality. We have launched Coursera Coach. It's pretty similar. It's a personalized learning tutor. And we're in the very early innings, but already this technology is so good at giving personalized, interactive learning support and feedback. And that's just on the learning side, but we're also going to be implementing it on all the career development piece as well. Interview prep, career development. It's definitely going to be a major change in the way that we can deliver personalized education.
Right. In fact, the last time we spoke, you said you're integrating ChatGPT with Coursera. You're going to use, generative AI. Can you tell us how you're doing that?
Yeah, I don't know if my share screen is up on one of your screens. This is a course. Can you see the one that says Coursera? It says generative AI with large language models.
We'll try to can we share Jeff's screen?
See if you can project the shared screen. Otherwise, I can certainly describe it. But the basic, for those of you who have used GPT, and I've been using GPT, we have a version of GPT-4 that we have access to at Coursera, but we've been using GPT 3.5. It's fast and it's inexpensive, so we don't have to charge anything extra for that. But also GPT-4, which is a little bit more capable. What we've been doing, and the implementation is quite effective, is we're using a large language model. We're not actually doing a lot of fine tuning right now. We're not training new neural networks or weightings on the neural nets. We're constructing prompts that have the kind of context that a tutor would need to give you personalized answers. And so what's really nice about this is it allows the language model to be really good at language, but the domain expertise comes from the university and the professor. So we're using the language model to essentially be a tutor that is grounded in the expertise of the original course material that was created by the original expert. Yeah, so it's up and running. We're rolling it out to our consumer clients. So 25%, I think we're at maybe above 25% now of our learners out there have access to this new feature that we call Coursera Coach, which is a personalized tutor basically for every course on Coursera.
Right. Jeff, one question that a lot of parents worry about is that are systems and products in education built on top of AI and LLMs, like GPT in some sense, harmful for kids? Will kids start relying on such models? And, in that process, how will it impair their cognitive ability, their learning ability? Is this something that you think about as well?
I definitely think about it. I was reading a story about Khan Academy. They built their Conmigo tutor on, Khan said GPT-4. We're building ours on GPT 3.5, although it's multi-model. So we'll be able to route certain types of queries to different models depending on which model is best fit for the query. We want to try to make this as accessible and as affordable as possible. So we built ours so far on 3.5. But what's really fascinating is the capabilities. What I read about the Khan Academy, they've been working with some schools in New Jersey. They had to actually scale back the capabilities of Conmigo because the GPT was too good at giving the answers. And so it really, the capabilities of the technology is really quite remarkable. And I think that we're all trying to figure out how do you support a learner without letting them cheat. I mean, clearly cheating is a really big threat to the way that people learn. And you want to provide good assistance, but you don't want to totally provide the answers. As our founder, Andrew Ng, says, a teacher needs to be helpful, but not too helpful. The student still has to do the work. And it will be a tricky balancing act to make sure that the GPT, the AI, doesn't go too far in answering too many of the questions, really encouraging the students to continue to think.
That's a great, quote by Andrew, that a teacher needs to be helpful, but not too helpful.
Yeah.
Moving on, Jeff, if I look at the edtech space in India, right, in the last few years, especially post-pandemic, these startups raised millions of dollars in funding on the promise of online learning. But we've clearly seen that ebbing once schools opened up, once the pandemic sort of, came to an end. And, we are seeing these startups struggling. They are now, going offline. They are trying omni-channel. We saw what happened with Chegg in the US. What happens to the future of these edtechs?
Well, I think that I listened to your previous panel, and I really appreciate the thoughtfulness of the speakers. I mean, if you're going to be an investor in the startup world, or if you're going to be an entrepreneur, I'm coming on almost 30 years as a technology CEO. I started in 1996 with Financial Engines. The whole game is predicated on a world that is changing, and that change creating new opportunities and new needs. And so, when I really think about the future of ed tech and the future of using technology to educate people, the pandemic clearly was a major acceleration in the adoption of technology for teaching and learning. But even now, as people go back to school, we are seeing really strong adoption of online learning in physical classrooms. I think we will never go back to a world where it's printed textbooks and every student and every teacher is in the same class. So I think it's really going to be a hybrid world. And that's what we're really seeing at Coursera. Even students on campus are taking courses on Coursera, and these courses are being integrated into the curriculum. So I think it's a hybrid world, and we all need to be pretty agile in seeing kind of what comes next, because the world is changing quite quickly.
Right. Will Coursera ever open an offline institute?
I don't think so. I mean, I really, as an entrepreneur, I have to say, I don't know, because you never really know where the world's going to go and what needs your company will be able to meet in a differentially advantaged way. But what we're seeing really good success with, we clearly have a lot of online open courses, which are self-service, and anyone can go on and take these courses online. But Coursera for Campus, although it grew very quickly during the lockdown when campuses were closed, it's really coming along. Many schools now in India and Asia Pacific and Latin America, in the US, they're integrating online courses, especially career electives like industry micro-credentials and advanced electives in advanced courses like AI and blockchain and things like that. They're integrating online courses into the on-campus experience. We basically team up with universities and colleges around the world. There's over 20,000 degree-granting institutions, and they're putting online content from Coursera into their physical environment. I'd rather not build my own physical environment. We want to specialize in what we're really good at, and that's a good technology platform and then fantastic content and credentials from the best institutions. I have to say, today we announced a Bachelor's of Science from IIT Guwahati in computer science and AI, or data science and AI. And so we're really excited to be working with institutions who have a physical presence and use Coursera's content and technology to augment that physical presence.
Right. Final couple of questions from me, Jeff. What's the course that you're doing on Coursera now?
Well, you know, I'm taking a generative AI course from Andrew Ng. Andrew Ng, deep learning AI, and AWS just launched a joint course on Coursera on generative AI, so that's pretty fun. I'm taking the Google Data Analytics certificate just to see if this is something that's good for all of our employees at Coursera, because data analysis and data-driven decision-making is pretty important. And then there's a course that's doing really well from Imperial College of London on creative thinking in a world of AI. And so kind of where are the humans going to really do their special thing in a world where technology is more and more capable? This creative thinking class is also a pretty good one. So I like to dabble in multiple courses at the same time.
How do you manage to complete courses on Coursera? I think you should do a separate course for that.
Yeah, well, they're learning how to learn, and it tells you, what are the best learning habits. Here's what we found. We found that when individuals come to Coursera just to kind of watch a video here and there, they often don't finish. I mean, among the free learners, fewer than 10% finish. But when a university offers Coursera for credit towards a degree, there might be career electives in UX design or cybersecurity that's integrated into the degree program, the completion rate's over 95%. So it really depends on what is the learner.
I think it depends on whether you're getting a degree from a university.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Coursera is being built into degree programs as electives, and you get credit towards your degree. And in those cases, the completion rates are very high.
Got it. I believe we have a question from a special guest. Can we bring her up, please?
What I see on the screen, I think, is my shared screen.
We're just waiting
of our
one second. Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, this is AI Call, and thanks for the insightful session. This had been on my mind, and you are the right person to ask. What course would you recommend for me on Coursera?
Okay, if that were a human, I mean, here's the thing.
Can you tell if she's a real person?
Well, she looked like she was close to human, but not quite out of the uncanny valley. But I'll tell you, voice cloning is getting really, really good, by the way. So here's what I would say. First of all, that was pretty impressive. I would say that for humans, what we need to be really leaning into are the things that humans do particularly well. I mean, clearly there needs to be data fluency. There needs to be a basic understanding of computer science, mathematics, reading, writing, the basics. But in particular, collaboration, teamwork, and what most companies are looking for, definitely our customers in India, but around the world, they're looking for employees who have what I call learning agility. The world is changing so quickly. The technology is changing, the tools are changing, the tasks are changing, jobs are changing, business models are changing. What kinds of people can keep up with that rate of change? I mean, my answer to the question really is the ability to continue to learn and adapt to changing needs of businesses is what's going to be rewarded among employees. So I would say, hardcore, agile, lifelong learning is the key. And a course that I like is called Learning How to Learn. It's by Barbara Oakley, and it's one of our most popular courses.
On that note, Jeff, thank you so much. And I think learning how to learn is something that I look up as well. Thank you, Jeff, for that very, very interesting discussion. We hope you found the first half of our conclave insightful. It's